Hello, welcome class of 2024. I'm Dr. Shoemaker, the director of the First Year Experience Program. And this morning, myself and Alicia Miles from the CSU Advise Center on campus will be talking with you about your opportunities this upcoming year. First, let's talk about the First Year Experience Program. Next slide. We find that the first year experience program is very beneficial to the students. When the students participate in the program, they have the opportunity to make connections with faculty, other students, have an understanding, a better understanding of academic resources, and engage across campus. Therefore, based on the practices that are used in the courses and the engagements, students have a higher retention rate and also a higher GPA. So let's talk about some of the opportunities that you'll have as first-year students to engage in first-year experience. The first option is to participate in a perspectives course. You may say, what is a perspectives course? A perspectives course is a general education course that you'll find on your degree plan when you meet with your advisor. Falls in the Area B category. This is a special topics course to engage you in research practices and best practices for the college student. These classes are based on topics provided by faculty members across campus. So you might take a special topics class in social media, and it's titled Rumors versus Reality. Or you may take another class on money management, or a class on your personal philosophy that's titled This I Believe. There are many topics courses that you can choose from as you meet with your advisor. The focal points of the class is to engage you in some of the skills that researchers and that our local employers say are very important. So you'll have research practices incorporated into the class, and also the professor will give you the opportunity to engage in some very interesting real-world problem solving as you participate in the course and also become familiar with our campus resources. There are different options for you. We have Perspectives 1506, which is a 1 credit hour class, if that's what your degree deems. And then we have Perspectives 1507, which is our 2 credit hour course, if that is what your degree deems. So you have different options that are available to you, okay? There's another option that you may want to look at as well. We have our honors section, and that is ITDS 1779. This is scholarship across the disciplines. This is also a course to engage students in special topics across multiple fields, areas, and to engage with real-world problem solving. We also have a leadership course offered by our Servant Leadership Program. It is Introduction to Leadership that also engages you in real-world problem solving. So lots of opportunities there for you and engagements that you'll be participating in. One engagement, let me just show you an engagement that students have participated in the past, and that would be the McCalls House, okay? The McCalls House, you can go ahead and roll that slide. The McCalls House is located in downtown Columbus. There you go. And students have the opportunity to visit this location and have real life learning experiences that were represented in their readings and in their classes as well. So you'll have lots of extension opportunities to your course that you take as well. So it is multifaceted. So again, you'll talk with your advisor again about this opportunity and about the first year experience requirement. But before I pass the presentation on to Ms. Miles, please let me formally invite you to the first year convocation that will be offered for our first year students. It's our opportunity to welcome you as a class. There's more information to come, so please keep your eye on your email. Thank you. Look forward to meeting you. At this time, let me pass the presentation to Ms. Miles. She's our academic specialist and also our retention specialist from CSU Advise. Ms. Miles.
Thank you so much, Melody. Thank you. One of the things that we're going to talk about next is how do you actually get started out on on your best foot forward. And with an initiative that we call Momentum Year, it's a starting point that helps students find their path, stay on that path, build velocity in the direction of their goals. And so there's actually three pieces to this initiative that I'm going to break down for you. And it's starting out basically making purposeful choices in a focus area or degree program. Some of you may have already decided what you want your degree to be, and that's perfectly fine. And then some of you may not know. And so that's where we have focus areas where we can help you narrow down those options and make purposeful choices. I'll dig a little bit deeper into what it means to enter into college with a productive academic mindset. So we'll talk about that. And then we'll also talk about how do you actually go through your program and how do you sequence your courses and how do you take them and what am I taking? All of those things will be discussed throughout this presentation. So I'll dig deeper into each concept and we'll talk about them as we go. All right. So let's talk about starting your college career by making purposeful choices in a focus area or a program. Essentially, with advising, we will help you determine which courses are required and if there's any overlap in any of those courses that will allow you to look at different areas that you might be considering for a career. So when it comes to core curriculum, which I'll dig into a little bit later, we actually have courses that overlap into different degree programs that will give you the exposure that you need to help narrow down some of those hard decisions that you have to make about choosing a career path or a degree. So that's how we start off. We start off being purposeful, and then we keep going from there to make sure that you're taking the right classes. So when we talk about academic focus areas, essentially there are, I think this is like eight, I believe. It could be a little bit more, but essentially they're groups or programs together for students who are groping with uncertainty. So if you don't know what degree program you want to pursue, essentially we tackle different areas in the core curriculum that will help you start off contributing to college completion no matter which direction you take. So essentially, we help you identify which specific courses and focus areas are very important to the career track that you want to go in. So we help basically refine this process to make it easy, to make it essential to making the right decisions from the very beginning. Okay. We also want to enter with a productive academic mindset. So essentially what that means is that I would like for all of our students to make what we call a mindset shift, especially if you're someone who's dealing with issues that assume that everything is restrictive, that certain people are only gifted with uh, certain levels of intelligence or certain specific personalities that make them good or better at certain projects or classes or degrees. And essentially, that's not true. We want students to actually develop a growth mindset, which will actually allow you the opportunity to take any challenges, to take on new things, to identify that challenges are nothing but stepping stones to success, and that failure can happen, but it's also an opportunity to learn from those things. So essentially, when you make those mindset shifts from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, it gives you an opportunity to be a little bit more productive in how you approach, essentially it could be everyday living, or it could be a particular subject that you think you're difficult, it's hard for you or difficult at. It gives you an opportunity to look at it from a different perspective. And so we want you to enter and remain with a productive mindset as you're continuing through your college curriculum. Okay. So when we take that mindset and we apply it to our sequence program maps, essentially we have a format that works for every student, no matter what degree program it is. Each college and department has decided there's a sequence of courses that students should take that will actually give them the best course of action to get ready for those junior and senior level classes and graduation. We're talking about getting ready for the real world. So these courses are aligned in a way that will actually prepare you for student success. So one of the first things we're going to talk about is understanding the core curriculum. As Melody mentioned, Perspectives courses are a part of this process. It's a part of the first year experience. It's a part of your first 2 years of college. And we're going to break it down really quickly in just a second, but I wanted to tell you why we have core curriculum. So core curriculum is really just to create a well-rounded student. We give you a variety of knowledge. It, in my opinion, is the foundation for success in those courses that you have to take in your major. So, you know, if you don't know how to properly write a paper in English Composition 1, the likelihood of being successful at writing a research paper when you get into your research course in your major might be a little difficult. So one of the things that we want to talk about is just really making sure that you understand that there's common courses that every freshman and sophomore student has to take. There's also required courses that are specific to your major that we make sure when we talk about those purposeful choices, this is where we make sure you take those classes that you absolutely have to have for your degree. So you'll see some major specific courses in your core curriculum as well. And as I mentioned, this is freshman and sophomore year. So the first 60 or so credit hours, you'll be taking these core classes, and you'll also have an opportunity to drop in some major specific courses as well. So let's break down the core curriculum. All right. So with the core curriculum, you have 5 areas and then a wellness component. Okay. The first area is area A. These are your essential skills. This is your English composition and math. Every student will be required to take an English composition or math unless they come in with transfer credit or they have AP credit, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But for the most part, everybody their first semester will see some level of English and math on their schedules. Area B, these are the institutional options. And this is where Melody mentioned the perspectives course, which also satisfies your first year experience requirement. So we'll narrow down when you actually talk to your advisor and we get to see a list of options, we'll narrow down what those options are. And there's some really great course options available for fall. So we'll narrow down what those look like, and you get to choose which perspectives course you would like to take. Or in some cases, your advisor may have already selected a course that might be a good fit for your program. In this area, there's also a requirement for public speaking. Every student has to take this course. Leading into area C, these are your humanities and fine arts courses, and this is where you take literature, philosophy, art, music, or theater appreciation, whichever is more exciting to you, you get to choose which course you want to take in this area. Area D is a little different though, because Area D is the science, technology, and math section. And this could actually change based on your major. So while someone in another program may have to take college algebra, you may not have to take college algebra for your degree program. And while certain sciences are required for nursing majors, a communication major may not have to take chemistry. So in this area, your advisor will make sure that you're very strategic and very specific about which courses are required for your Area D, science, technology, or math. When we look at Area E, these are your social sciences. This includes your U.S. history and American government requirement, your psychology, sociology, economics, or other options you get to choose in this area. But there's behavioral science and there's world culture components that are required for Area E. And then there's wellness. So yes, you do have to take a fitness course in college. There is a required concepts of fitness course, and then you also have to select a physical activity class. So this could be something like, I like to use the example of pickleball. So you could take pickleball, you could take swimming, you can walking, jogging, whatever is interesting to you, you get the option of taking those classes, but you only need one. So your wellness requirement is only 2 classes, your concepts of fitness and your physical activity. So let's go ahead and talk about those program maps that I mentioned. This is where the sequence of courses is very important. And every student will have access to their program map, and your advisor will help you navigate these maps. So don't think that everything on here is so specific that you can't divert from it. Because in some cases, based on the availability of classes, we may have to move some things around. And so within the first 2 years, you may see that there may be some variation in these courses. Most advisors will take in consideration what are strong subjects for students. and encourage certain courses during certain semesters. But for the most part, you'll notice in this program map, and this is just an example. So this is an example for a psychology major, but you'll notice that it's a fall one and a spring one, and it continues to go through each year of college. So there's 4 different sections. But your first 2 years, you'll notice some of the classes that I mentioned. So you'll see some English and math and American government and your fine arts and your sciences. You'll notice that those are going to be pretty standard for most majors. These are going to be some of the courses that you'll take in your first semester. So a fall and a spring equals an academic year. And we usually try to encourage that you take a full load, and we'll talk about that in more detail here in just a second. But when we're talking about program maps and helping students identify which courses are required and taking into consideration any previous coursework that they have, one of the things that we have to make sure we emphasize is that math is very critical in the first year. And so math requirements, as I mentioned, will differ based on major. This year, going into fall, we did base the math placement on the high school GPA. Now, that could mean that helps us determine the highest level math that you can take going into your first semester. It's going to be different for every student. So please don't try to compare yourself to other students when it comes to math placement or even your English placement. Every student is different, and we do our best to help you guys start up on the right track. And so if you have any questions about your math placement, once you see your schedule, this will be something that you can talk to your advisor about. For the foreign language, not every major requires a foreign language. So, but those of you that do have a major that requires it, as long as you have 2 years in high school, you can exempt the very first introductory level of your foreign language. Typically, most high schools do require, at least in the state of Georgia, they do require that you have foreign language in high school. So this will be something that should be easy to attain. If a foreign language is required for your degree, you kind of give yourself a step ahead. When we talk about prerequisites, these are courses that you're required to take prior to taking another course. So for example, the English 1101 is a prerequisite for English 1102. And usually there's a grade requirement for it. In most cases, it's going to be a C or better. You have to have a C or better in the prerequisite in order to take the next level. And you will know, and your advisor will help you understand what the prerequisite requirements are. There are several for other different majors, and it just varies. So, but not all courses require a prerequisite. So just keep that in mind. And when it comes to prior learning, one of the things we want to make sure you understand is that if you have any advanced placement, if you have any dual enrollment credits, any transfer credits, you have to send your transcripts or official score reports to CSU so that we can make sure you get credit for those classes. Otherwise, there's no way for us to apply it, and it can't be pulled from your high school transcript. So make sure that you notify College Board where to send your AP scores, and make sure that if you took dual enrollment classes or transfer, that you get the school to send an official transcript to CSU so we can give you credit for those classes. And make sure if you can do it between now and fall, it makes for a really good transition. That way we know up front which classes to stay away from and which classes you absolutely need to finish out your degree. So while we're talking about those program maps, you probably noticed that there are some semester hours that were listed on there. So we like to focus on 15 to Finish Georgia, which is basically a proven advisement, retention, progression, and graduation initiative. And what this does, it helps us to ensure that you get out of here in 4 years. So we try our best to make sure that anywhere between 14 and 16 hours are taken. That way we can make sure you have at least 30 credits each year. So between fall and spring, we want to make sure that we level out your courses enough that you actually get the opportunity to graduate on time, save some money, and we're going to push for 15. Now, having said that, just to be a full-time student is only 12 credits. And we understand that some students may only be able to take 12 credits, which is perfectly fine. But just know that we're going to encourage you as advisors to get this degree on time, go ahead and take your 15 credits and be ready to graduate in 2024. So let's talk about some of those academic support services that we offer. So as Melody mentioned, I do work for CSU Advise. CSU Advise is, we serve as the central location for information regarding academic programs, student support services, and other campus opportunities. And we work well, and we work strategically with academic departments to make sure that we're giving you that specialized advising that you need to make those purposeful choices in your courses. So we work with every new students, transfer students, undeclared students, military students, every student that crosses our campus. We work with those students to make sure that you guys are getting started on the right track and making the right decisions when it comes to considering your major. So we'll talk about major changes and things like that, whatever is necessary to help you feel like you are doing the right thing and making the right choices. So we pride ourselves in saying that we have a partnership with you. So we're just as responsible for your education as you are, but it's your degree, you're taking the courses, you're making the decisions with our support. And so I want to talk a little bit about advisor responsibilities versus student responsibilities, okay? So as an advisor, I'm always going to make sure that you know dates and deadlines for when courses can be dropped, when you need to when you need to take midterms, when you need to take finals, things of that nature. I always make sure that we're proactive in communicating with you. So that means if you want to change your major, if you want to talk about your goals, if you want to talk about taking aptitudes to make sure you're in the right field, these are areas that we talk about and discuss during advising appointments, or if you just randomly want to show up one day in our office, you're more than welcome to do so. So this is an opportunity for us to encourage you to participate in your classes. That's number one. But we also want to encourage you to participate in campus activities. So we'll talk a little bit about that in our appointments and in our discussions. So what does that mean for you? You actually have to know who your advisor is and build a relationship, with your advisor, so that we can make sure we're giving you the right information as possible. So come in prepared with questions, concerns. We don't just talk about academics. So if there's anything that you need, you're more than welcome to reach out to us, and we can try our best to put you in contact with the right people if we don't have the answers. So know that your advisor is there to help you at any point during the semester, not just during registration. So very important point, you must meet with your advisor every semester before you can register for classes. This is where we have those critical conversations, and this is where we discuss the courses that you need to take to stay on track for your degree. So it's going to be very important that you remember your advisor is going to reach out to you come fall, and we'll give you the information on how you need to communicate and register for next semester. Another academic support is going to be the Academic Center for Tutoring. They offer tutoring for most core subjects, and essentially these are going to be the courses in your core curriculum. Those areas A through E that I mentioned, they typically try to offer as many support tutoring that they can for these courses. So it is covered by your student fees. You don't have to worry about paying anything extra to get a tutor. They do offer face-to-face, and they offer online, especially with us this summer. Those of you that are starting this summer, keep in mind they do offer online tutoring to support you while you're taking your classes. So with tutoring, faculty members, advisors, we can always make referrals to the tutoring center to reach out to you if you're having issues with your classes. But please know they are a number one line of support to help you while you're taking your courses. So don't feel like you're in this by yourself, okay? All right, so this is the most important thing that I think everybody wants to know, and that's understanding your schedule. I'm going to explain this very quickly, and then we'll soon be done. But let's talk about what your first semester schedule is going to look like, okay? Your first semester schedule has essentially been prepared for you. Changes can be made. However, we highly recommend that you talk to your advisor before you make any changes. This is essentially to protect you from making decisions that may not be good in your first semester based on course availability, what has already been scheduled for you. essentially what's the best option. But we understand that there are other responsibilities that you have. So if we need to make changes to your schedule, we can definitely do that. However, please complete orientation, the entire process, before you inquire about changing your class schedule. You'll notice that most schedules will have 14 to 15 credit hours. Now, for certain majors, it could be way more than this. So depending on your major and specific course requirements, you may notice anything between 14, 16, 18 hours your first semester. Your goal, like I mentioned before, is just to make sure you complete 30 credits in an academic year. And those 30 credits are significant because it establishes your classification. So you'll notice here at the bottom where I have the classifications listed in terms of credit hours. Freshmen are 0 to 29, sophomores 30 to 59 credits, juniors 60 to 89 credits, and seniors 90 and above. So you'll notice that's 30 credits each year to make sure that you complete this in 4 years, okay? When we look at a simple class schedule really quickly, let me go over what you're going to see. This is an example. This is not your schedule or any specific student schedule for this semester going into fall. This is just an example of what you can expect. All right, so let's break this down. So you have the very first number 1 arrow. This is the course registration number. You'll hear advisors ask you, what is the CRN? And then you're like, we use a lot of acronyms for the most part. So I'm trying to break down the acronym piece of this. So you'll hear us say, what's the CRN for the course if you're having difficulty registering for it? And this is a 5-digit code that's given to each course for registration. So in the fall, it normally starts with the 8. In the spring, it normally starts with, I think, a 2. And in the summer, it starts with the 5, somewhere along those lines. But the only thing you have to do is just let us know what it is you're looking for by telling us the CRN number, and we can usually give you some guidance on that course. The other thing that you'll see is the class days. The days of the week are broken down into letters. And so Tuesday and Thursday is going to be a T and an R. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday will be an M, W, and an F. And sometimes you'll see it's only an M and a W, which means that you're only going to class on Monday and Wednesday. Sometimes you'll only see an R, which means you're only going to that class on Thursdays. So just make sure that you pay attention to the days and remember what the acronyms are for each day. The classroom time is the time that you actually go to the class on those specific days. So you'll actually be going to class. Sometimes classes are 50 minutes. Sometimes they're an hour and 15. Sometimes they're an hour and 30 minutes. It just really depends on the structure of the course. But for the most part, this tells you when you need to be in the class each day that you're scheduled to go. And keep in mind that on our campus and even at River Park campus, so main campus and River Park, keep in mind that these classes are within close range of each other. So you don't have to stress about whether or not you can get to class on time, because the schedule is built where students can actually get to the next class comfortably. And speaking of location, main campus is where the majority of our buildings and locations are. You'll notice in your freshman year that a majority of your classes will be on main campus. Depending on your major, if you're in College of the Arts or if you're in communication, nursing, or anything like that, you may find every now and then that some of your courses will be downtown. And we do have a shuttle that runs, I believe, every 20 minutes to get you downtown to your location. Now, in that case, you do need to make sure you have time in between your class to get back and forth to both campuses. The date range is when classes are actually scheduled to begin and end. So this year, classes start on August the 17th and they end on December 10th. Now, considering the climate that we in, we expect that this should be pretty standard, but please keep in mind that the university may make adjustments to accommodate any changes that we have to make to keep you safe, We'll make sure that we inform you ahead of time exactly what those changes are. And then when we talk about credit hours, Essentially, this is the weight or the credit hour value that's being given to a course that's expressed in semester hours. So it's not really the number of hours or the time spent in class each day. It could be over the course of the week that's how many hours you're actually spending in the course. But essentially, we've given it a weighted value so that you can keep up with your semester hours in terms of what you take each semester, and also making sure that you keep up with where you are in terms of your classification as a freshman, sophomore, so forth and so on. Really quickly, let's talk about online classes. So the majority of you may not see online classes in your first semester. Typically, we like for students to get acclimated to campus and campus life and residence life. And so you may not see online classes in your first semester. Some may, depending on the availability of the course and whether or not you need to take it right away, you may be scheduled for an online course. And in this case, you'll notice it will say online on your schedule. And we'll also work with you as advisors to make sure you understand when you have an online class. There's two options. We have CSU online classes, and then we also have eCore options, which the eCore options is a statewide collaborative program where students can take classes with students who are attending campuses all over the state of Georgia, which is really cool. And so your advisor will talk to you about, how to go about taking those classes if you're interested. All right, I'm getting down to the last portion of this presentation. One of the things we hope that you are using even now is your MyCSU account. This is where the university communicates with you on a wide range of issues and a wide range of communication things that we need to express to you. So when we're talking about some of the things that we're going to enforce you to use, or we highly recommend that you use, one of them is going to be EAB. You'll hear us refer to this as a scheduling system that you'll need to schedule your appointment with your advisor, your faculty member, and most importantly, also the tutoring center. So this is the platform that you'll use to actually make appointments with faculty members and so forth and so on, as I mentioned. Your advisor will express to you how to use this system. We actually have step-by-step instructions that we send. DegreeWorks is a platform that you can use in MyCSU that actually lists all of your majors, degree requirements. And essentially, it gives you everything like we mentioned, area A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and I. It goes through the wide range of all the courses that you have to have for the degree, not necessarily the order that you need to take them in like a program map, but it just makes sure you stay on track with the courses that you need for the degree. You can see where everything is populating and say, okay, I finished area B. Let me focus on area E and get those courses out the way. There's also a what if analysis that's attached to degree work. So if you're uncertain or you think after your freshman year that you really want to change your major, you're absolutely able to do so by looking at the what if analysis to determine whether or not the courses you've already taken will transfer into another program. This is a really cool option. I use it a lot when advising my students, so it's something that's available to you as well. Now, I cannot stress enough how to keep on top of your email. So email is going to be the primary way that the university chooses to communicate with you. Emergencies, important dates, anything that you need to know will primarily go through your email. And so we want to highly recommend that you go ahead and download your email information to your phone, get those alerts when you get a new message. And make sure that you're communicating with the university through your CSU email. So it goes both ways. Make sure that you set that up and make sure that you're using your ID number. So your student ID number, which starts with a 909, make sure you use that number in your email so that we know who we're communicating with, okay? All right, so MyCSU has other things in it, such as access to your personal information if you need to change your address, if you need to update your phone number. It also has financial aid information in there, so make sure you're checking it to see if you're on top of your financial aid. But most importantly, this should be the platform that you use for a lot of information. There's several links, access to different tutorials, access to different projects that you can do or look into in MyCSU. So make sure you go ahead and take a look at that and navigate it and get comfortable with using it. So This is the best way to get in contact with us. If you know your advisor's information, you are more than welcome to reach out to them directly. I will say that if you don't have that information just yet and you're just uncertain and you need to refer back to this presentation to see who you need to talk to, the best thing to do is to look it up on our website, or you can email us using this address on the screen. Right now, I don't know so much if this number is monitored, but you can definitely reach out to us by email if you're not able to get in contact with anyone by phone. Our locations, we do have a location now in the main campus library, and we also have a location downtown at River Park campus. Depending on your major, that determines which location you'll actually go to. So we'll talk about that once we get closer to you coming on campus in the fall. So stay connected with us. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Contact us if you need anything. We look forward to meeting with you. We look forward to engaging with you. We get excited when new students come in. So we're excited about working with you and helping you get ready for your career. And we are so happy that you've chosen CSU. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation, watching this presentation as well. And let us know if there's anything we can do to help you. Thank you.